Well, hi everyone. I'm Kieran.
And I'm Alex.
Yeah, we are co-founders of BONK Advisory, so we're part of the BONK family. But I think before we kick off, I want to start with a question. Who here has heard of BONK? Pretty good. Okay. Who here's heard of BONK Advisory? Pretty good. A few less, but we can educate you guys.
All right, so I'll go with the education piece. Even if everybody here knew about BONK, I'm still going to tell you about the BONK family. BONK was founded in 2022. It was kind of cited as the savior of Solana. And, frankly, it really was. And has now become much more of a culture coin, or the culture coin of Solana. The way I try to visualize BONK as the ecosystem grows and grows is there's this overarching brand that is BONK, that is the coin, BONK coin. It's global, it's within crypto, it's outside crypto, it's increasingly visible, it's got 1 million holders and continuing to grow. And then there's this layer underneath that is all like really increasingly interesting consumer applications. So there's a few that you'll have seen. There's BONK Rewards, earning BONK on your BONK. There's BONK Fun, the meme launchpad because memes are life. There's BONK Swap because we need to swap. And there's plenty more, including Exchange Art being a digital art marketplace because NFTs are so core to Web3. BONK constantly strives to make the brand and token more liquid and more accessible. So there's a few bits and pieces coming up. There's a BONK ETP, again, like more accessible to traditional finance. A BONK DAT that's coming through the safety shot on the NASDAQ exchange, which, by the way, is like rocketing today when the market's open. Dabba, I was going to spend the whole talk talking about Dabba, but it turns out they're on stage next, so I don't need to mention that. They're a key partner. And there's even products like Moonwalk Fitness, a walk to earn app with the TGE literally today. So if you're into fitness and getting your steps in, check that out and download the app. And then, more excitedly, there's the B2B side of BONK.
Thanks, Alex. So who are we? We're part of the BONK family. We're a JV with BONK. And simply put, what we do is help you guys build better businesses. We love the 0 to 1 stage, and we work with early stage founders across the board, helping them on things like go-to-market, scaling, positioning, narrative, fundraising, these types of things. Think of us as long-term independent advisors on your side of the table. I think what I want to make a point of, though, is over the last 12 months, we have supported pretty much every Apex event and every startup village around the world. Everywhere there's a Solana event, we try to be there. We've spoken to over 400 teams. Like I say, we're global and we are on the ground with founders in the trenches. We've partnered with some of the best people in the ecosystem, including Sigman Ventures and Super Team, thanks to Ditya. And there's some logos of some of our portcos there, including WeRate in the middle, which you will also be hearing speak later on. But the point being, we're plugged in. So having had all these conversations, we wanted to give you guys 3 insights that we feel consistently come up across all these conversations that will be useful and actionable to all of you.
Yeah, I think it applies to absolutely everyone at every stage of life, no matter what they're doing. But focus is a very key kind of insight for us. If you don't have laser focus on one problem that you're trying to solve, then it's going to be very, very difficult to identify whether you really have the right solution. So tip 1, communicate one clear problem set. Have a thesis on exactly who your target user is, why that specific person has such a specific problem, and why you think your problem solves that. And that allows you to qualify in and qualify out. It's my favorite phrase, but qualify out everything quickly, right? It clears your mind to be able to move forward with the next idea. So talk to users, get something in front of them to use, iterate quickly, ship quickly, qualify in, qualify out. And you'll get to the point really where you work out, was there really a problem that needed solving in the first place? And then when you have some confidence in that, a refined problem statement should be so specific that an investor or a user or an employee or a partner can visualize it instantly, making it much, much easier for you to test your thesis. Example of that, a client of ours, DeFi Carrot, nailed this. I feel like I've been in crypto several years, and I've always found DeFi incredibly confronting and sort of frightening to get involved with. problem statement. DeFi is complex and intimidating. And DeFi Caro built a simple, trustworthy on-ramp. The story wasn't about their smart contract. It was about giving users confidence that they could trust the product based on simple communication and simple optimized yield for stable coins. I was like, oh, I get that. And I have some stable coins and I want to get yield. And I don't want that money to go to zero somehow. And now they're ready to expand to the next product suite. 2, once you've truly identified a problem worth solving, how do you sell your solution? And the reality is people don't buy tech. They buy solutions to problems, and they buy solutions to problems much better if they relate to the problem. Enter the art of storytelling. And a great story makes your product intuitive. Again, it makes investors, users, partners, and employees just get it. They're able to visualize it. Focus your story on benefits, not features. It's like, what can I do for you? How can I help you solve your problem? Is it cheaper? Is it faster? Is it safer? What is the benefit as opposed to, hey, I got this new cool tech thing I built. And finally, technical depth is for credibility, right? Once you've proven that you can do what you do and you do it well, the story is all about connection and goes all back to really understanding the user and putting, if you're looking for an investor, how are they going to put themselves in the shoes of the user and just go, ping, right. I get this problem needs to be solved.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that a bit. In my previous startup, NeoSwap, we were a very technical solution. And initially, we'd created our tagline, and it was these multi-way, multi-asset, multi-peer swaps. And we thought it was really clear. It wasn't. It took loads of iteration. And what we drilled down to in the end was, we let you spend your assets like money. And that's intuitive. People understood it, and it invited the next question as to how you do that. You can then go into the technical, but you don't lead with that. People buy into a story. How do you let me spend your assets like money? We told it. So if people can't retell your story, they can't remember your product. And the last point we'll talk to is understanding VC motivations. This is a consistent conversation we have. A lot of people want to raise money, understandably, but VCs are kind of vilified. They're not villains, but you need to understand who you're dealing with. And a lot of times when we have conversations with early founders, they don't. Not every great business is venture backable, and that's okay. You need to understand fund maths. Like, VCs are built on the power law. They need the big exits. Yes, it's a little bit cliche. Oh, it needs to be $1 billion, but this is how a fund model works. So if you come to them and your business can't justify that, they won't invest, even if you're a great idea. The other thing you need to understand is fund mandates, which a lot of people don't. So funds raise from LPs, and usually they raise on a given thesis. And that might be a particular vertical, such as DeFi or gaming. So if you go and pitch a gaming fund with your brilliant DeFi play, doesn't matter how good your business idea is, generally they can't invest. So you need to understand the other side of the table. Fund mandates matter. So that's fine, but if you do conclude that you're not a venture-backed business or a venture-backable business, that's okay too. There are plenty of other ways that you can scale your business, and you can consider bootstrapping, angels, strategic partners. Each path has its trade-offs. We'd be happy to discuss with you. But speaking of alternative paths, Alex, I think you could speak to that briefly.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I always just feel it's so easy for us to stand up on stage and give theoretical advice about fundraising or how easy it is to kick off a business. And of course it isn't. We've already spoken to a few of you, about the challenges of that over the last few days. So I wanted to at least mention my own business and my own experience from a number of years ago when I had no idea what a venture capitalist was. I had no idea about access to funding. And frankly, the internet wasn't quite as pervasive as it is now to some degree. The business was called Tiger Spike. We had no savings in the bank. We had a bit of tech that could serve content like ringtones to feature phones back in 2005, and no real business network in Australia when we started. It was just 4 guys with a little bit of a dream. And we were hopeless at monetizing that tech. I should qualify. We were absolutely hopeless, at least for a while. But fast forward 10 years and we sold the business for $100 million to a Fortune 100 company, at which point we were making large-scale custom enterprise mobility software for Fortune 50 brands. And look back on it and you go, how? How did we manage that? And the reality is because we were persistent enough and believed in ourselves enough to eventually find ways to understand that every company has a problem and we could be the ones to solve at least some of those problems or one problem within each of those companies. And we constantly iterated our services, our narrative, our SaaS platform in the end as it evolved, and our go-to-market strategy at speed. And we found one company at a time who could see value in paying us to solve that problem. And as a result, we didn't need external funding, but we got paid dollar by dollar, week by week, and we were able to build up the coffers, build our own platform, and we found a way. So the point is, there is always a way, and you might need to upskill yourself or find people to complement your values and skills, but there's a way.
Yeah, and the big exit. So that's it. I think they're the 3 takeaways that we'd leave you with. Focus on one specific problem, focus on good storytelling and narrative, and understand the game you're playing, particularly if you're looking to raise VC capital. If any of this sounds like you, get in touch. You're exactly the kind of founders that we love to work with. We've been BONK Advisory. Thanks again and happy bonking.
Thank you.